You're listening to Scribble Talk, a podcast for bid and proposal professionals. My name is Bhaskar Sundaram, and with my co-host,
Ashley Case,
we will be sitting down with our industry veterans to share their stories, discuss their career, and learn how to make an impact in the industry.
Today's guest is Wolfram Seyring. Wolfram has more than 26 years of experience in business development, sales, and sales support with national and international clients. Wolfram owns Shipley GmbH, Seyring GmbH, and co-founder of BidBox GmbH, registered in Düsseldorf, Germany in 2011. Previously, Wolfram was global head of sales, VimpelCom at NSN, head of CMO Restructuring Global at NSN, VP head of global sales support global at NSN, Nokia account director France Telecom Germany at Nokia, global accounts executive Deutsche Telekom at Ericsson. What a mouthful. Wolfram was also led diverse workshops on capture and bid management, as well as on writing winning proposals and implementing successfully processes in defense, aerospace, telecommunications, and transport sectors. Wolfram was co-founder of APMP DACH in 2007. He is also an APMP certified proposal manager. Wolfram holds a degree in electrical engineering, applied science, Düsseldorf, and has considerable additional business education. Welcome, Wolfram, to Scribble Talk. Great to have you with us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's so exciting. So you're our first, guest from this region, and we're curious, where were you born? Where did you grow up, and where did you go to school?
Yeah, as you said, I'm perhaps the first one from Germany here, and I'm a native German, and I'm actually born in Germany, around the area, Wuppertal, Düsseldorf, and it's in the largest state of Germany, North Rhine-Westphalia, with 18 million inhabitants. And I was born 1960, so I'm turning 60 this year.
Oh, wow, that's exciting. So, many of our guests, we learned that, they didn't start out in proposals. So we're curious, what was your first job?
My first job, actually, based on this education system here in Germany, I started the first education as a technical engineer. Okay. That means I have been working and learning with German Railway. Yeah. And but actually my first big job after university was actually with Bosch and Ericsson. Okay.
And that was doing engineering?
Well, I also studied actually information technology. So same field actually I've been working in. And but maybe we come back to that later. So I have several type of educations you will perhaps realize.
Oh, fascinating. Okay, so your first job was there. When did you actually enter the proposal field?
That time, I think I was working with, the boom of mobile industry. You may remember mobile telephony. I was actually working with Ericsson, which is a Swedish company. And Ericsson and Nokia were both the leaders in this field. And it's not about telephones, it was about networks. At that time, networks growth was, let's say, building up this was very huge. It was about hundreds of millions and billions. Wow. And that time, I was in this area, and the biggest proposals came up from, and that time it was for Deutsche Telekom. You know, the client was likely. So there was no real proposal management that time. I started to make it my favorite to kind of say, how can we do good proposals in different countries of the world to the same customer? So I started to develop my own way of, how can I say, ensuring proposals are looking the same, a professional across different countries. And that was my actually take. So That was before actually I even came to APMP. That was around about 1998.
Uh-huh. So you really wanted to standardize the look and feel of those responses. But in different countries, were there any differences that you had to make sure that you incorporated?
I would say that was somewhat special because the intention was more, the customer was more or less the same with different partners in different countries. So we had to ensure that the proposals we do are not always different from each other. Because, so you had to make sure they are similar to what the customer is used to see.
Yeah.
And that was a big learning, when you work with such a large client.
Absolutely. And we mentioned that you're our first guest from Germany. Can you share some insights about how the German government and commercial procurements work and might be different from those in other parts of the world?
Oh, okay. This is now a big jump. I have also my experience when this comes to this. I mean, for instance, German Telecom, the Telecom is not a government organization, but was owned by the government at times.
Okay.
When it comes to public procurement, I would say it's special than in any other country in the world, but it's, how can I say, our country is organized in different states and communities. So we have several levels of responsibilities. So we do not have a centralized only approach. So when you, let's say, for instance, talk about applying for government tenders, it really much depends which level, where to find it. And there is no one portal, but it is somehow standardized. It's not always the same, but if you get used to this, you can learn actually to apply for, let's say, normal standard tenders. One specialty is it's 95% in German.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's, by the way, one reason companies are asking for help. So it's perhaps not on the level of, let's say, when we talk about proposal management, and application and executive summary, it's more like how to apply to the standard rules of German tenders. And it's not easy. You have to follow the rules, and and it has to be in German. So it's pretty difficult for international, let's say, medium-sized international companies to enter the German market, and many are trying, but failing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can imagine it's very tricky with, special rules you have to follow, and then also having to be in German.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to make local visits. So this also makes it difficult for some companies to offer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, but it's a very interesting field. And nowadays, when we talk about Corona time, for instance, I believe public tendering is booming up.
Yeah.
Because investments are more in government, or coming from the government's organization, if it is a city, community, district, state, or let's say from Berlin directly, instead of from private companies, because as everybody, we will have tremendous issues when it comes to business in general the next 2 or 3 years in Europe or worldwide.
Yeah, we're seeing the same thing over here, so it seems to be kind of a trend across the globe.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
It was a long answer to your simple question.
No, it was great. So it sounds like, from the various different, organizations you've worked for, that you've worked on some very memorable proposals over the years. Do any stand out to you?
Well, I mean, the two sides. Maybe we talk about it later. But when it comes to proposals, recently in our Shipley competence, I think 2014-15, we supported, let's say, a company in the aerospace field.
Okay.
And you may have heard about satellite systems. You may have heard about, I mean, everybody knows GPS, okay, which is American. But there's a European system, which is called Galileo.
Okay.
Okay. And we helped this company, which is, let's say, I mean, this is, I could talk about it. It's a 50-50 German-Italian organization, Space Opar, to win this major service contract to run the Galileo system for ESA.
Okay.
Yeah, so nowadays I'm also it's with some, let's say, colleagues and consultants to support ESA tenders.
Oh, wow. I bet that's very interesting work.
Yes, agree. I didn't know that time. Actually, it had to be done in a very short time frame. I mean, they called, well, they called for help. They called Shipley for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we immediately jumped in and you know tried to do the best we can do in the short time frame.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are always fun ones to support.
Yeah, but this is, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying this is from, how can I say, European customer point of view. Maybe we can talk about that, but I think I have some bigger other, I mean, you know, I have been in this industry a long time when I worked with Nokia, and there's a lot perhaps later on to talk about, but maybe we leave this for later.
Okay, if there's another one from earlier that stands out, you can share it. Go ahead.
I mean, we are Shipley Germany, but we support also other countries. So one, again, aerospace field, Telespazio. Telespazio is the Italian, you know, organization. So we have been in Rome, for instance.
Oh, wow.
And during the hot season and training in Italy before the Corona crisis, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, it's completely different style of doing, let's say, seminars, for instance. It was not the proposal support; it was the training, and you know, so trainings are different in Italy than when you do it with German participants.
Okay, how is it different in Italy?
If the boss is not telling them to be on time, you know, they might come half an hour later. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, just a different culture, yeah.
Yeah, a different culture, and but we had seminars are always fun. So
absolutely, yeah, I love the Shipley seminars, and I've obviously never been to one in Germany or Italy, only the US, but they're quite good.
yeah. We teach in English mainly, by the way. So sometimes it's when required in German, but our clients are international in Germany. So they have to apply for international contracts. So they have to write in English anyway. So it's mainly English then, which is different from the public tenders we talked about earlier.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you have to have multiple skills in the team.
Yeah, wow. So you've built and managed Nokia Siemens Networks Global Sales Center, shared services, including their remote support centers. Can you share some of that experience with us?
Yeah, I mean, I think you talk about this CSSC, so the center, I mean, bit factory, perhaps we can call it.
Yeah.
I would call this is something actually you do only once in your life.
Yeah.
So, you know, you may know when people talk about bit factories, they may talk about 10, 30, 40, 50 people. It's then big already. But actually, I had the chance to develop, design, and establish a centralized proposal center for Nokia Siemens networks. That means from zero, from scratch.
Wow.
Okay, and the main reason was we are doing the way we do it right now is too expensive.
Okay.
And this was globally.
Yeah.
I think that time, the company had 80,000 employees. Yeah, so I started to develop this the idea. I was let me talk a little bit about it if you're interested. So
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so it was developed with some consultants, and we called it Bit Factory. And my role that time was already I was head of proposal management in the let's say global organization. And I did the concept, and then I was actually trying to hire a person who was setting this up. And I had a couple of interviews, and after some time I decided, no, I think I need to do this myself. So I asked my managers, top managers, let me do this, I establish it, and we can now move it over to somebody else. And that's the way it started. So actually the center was actually built in New Delhi.
Oh, wow.
Or say concrete, let's say the neighboring country, let's say state, Gurgaon, Haryana. And so we started there, but that was the headquarters of it. So we had to support different languages in different regions. So we decided to build satellites in Beijing, in Mexico City, and in Ukraine, Kiev. So we can cover time zone and languages.
Yeah.
So we did not build anything in Germany because it was too expensive.
Oh, wow.
So you see, I can talk a lot about this. It was a very, very interesting time. And I've been living there for 4 years myself with my family. And I made great friends over there. And we were operational after, let's say, 4 months on a small scale. Of course, not just 500. We had 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot can be learned from how building this proposal centers. It's not just the process; it's the people whom you hire. So we had to do thousands of interviews.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, and I did this for 4 years, and then how can I say? I went back to Germany, and it's pretty difficult to find something more challenging than this.
I can imagine. It sounds like it was very successful, though. What advice would you give to a bid leader trying to do something similar for their organization?
To call me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this would take most likely hours, to be honest. I mean.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. It sounds quite complex.
It's really complex. It's about people, process, place. India was well suited for English. Of course, we had to look into the wages, the cost, etc. So mix of it. So, and then it still has to work, and it has to. Maybe one point is here. It has to be an integrated part of the sales organization somehow. It's not standalone. And this is, of course, you have to deal with all the sales organizations around the world if you do this in such a way.
Right.
And I think
you had to be.
And I remember competitors were trying the same in a similar place and were trying to hire people for my organization.
Uh-oh.
I think many of them did not succeed.
Yeah.
It's not as easy. Okay, but I can't tell you all the secrets, but I can only say it was really, I can say, a great experience, not only building the center, but also living in India.
Yeah. What is your favorite memory from living in India?
when I talk to my wife, we say we can write a book. So
yeah,
there is not one, so that it's many. Yeah. So when you say it's different when you're going there as a tourist or you really establish a company and a company, and also.
right.
Yeah. So yeah, I can just say, just do it. You need to find your own way.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned maybe a little bit of the differences perhaps between training in Germany and training in Italy, and how, it's, a little bit memorable when, people just show up 30 minutes late. Do you have any other memorable training experiences?
You mean in general?
In general, yeah. Like maybe one that stands out, or like a fun trip, anything.
No, man. I'm also an official trainer for interns.
Oh, okay.
That means if you actually in Germany start your career, you might apply for a certain job role.
Mm-hmm.
And companies must have a certified person and trainer who actually takes, has the authority to do this. So I did this for 2 of my companies and for a specific job role, which is kind of office management, marketing, and event planning.
Okay.
So and we still have one intern right now. And yeah, let's see if we take a new one on board, but because it's also work.
Yeah.
Because they're young, you have to take care of them, etc. And it's not so easy.
Yeah, I can imagine, but that's such a great program, and it's interesting, in Germany, how you have to have someone certified for the interns, and I think that's probably a great idea to make sure that they're actually learning what they need to be learning.
Yeah, and so many people do not study immediately in Germany. So
Okay.
they first take this education takes roundabout in average 3 years.
Mm.
So it's practical and theoretical education. And then people can still decide to study.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it seems like that might be more successful, right? To get that hands-on experience and understand what you like and what you're good at.
Yeah. It takes longer then, of course. Sometimes you can combine this also. Some companies know this. I did it myself as well. And I can say I would recommend this. If you study directly, you miss some of the real work.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we dig a little bit more into your background and maybe some APMP parts of your life, can you tell us 3 things that not many people would know about you?
For instance, when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of sports, and I was running marathon as well.
Oh, wow.
I think many people don't know this. It was the first marathon through the complete Berlin city.
Wow.
The East and West were divided, East and West Germany, and Berlin as well. It was the first one after the opening of the wall. And that was my first and last marathon.
A memorable one, though, for sure.
Yeah, but I tell you, I will not do this again.
Yeah.
And then, I've been a football player as well.
Wow.
Until I was 27. Then I stopped it because you can't do this and study at the same time. No time. Yeah. So nowadays, I scaled down with sports a little bit. But yeah, and I think my, let's say, international life, many people don't know. So I've been traveling around the world for those companies. So I know many places, not only India, also in Asia, US, and in Europe, of course. And I'm a very international German, I would say.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been to some really cool places. I'm sure Bhaskar will dig into that a little bit in his questions. So, can you share a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey in starting Shipley GmbH, and how did it begin, and your journey so far with it?
Yeah, officially I started with Shipley in 2014.
Okay.
But long before, when I still was working with Nokia networks,
Mm-hmm.
I had already in mind this proposal stuff is somewhat interesting. So this is something I can do later.
Mm.
So I started doing presentations. I planned to write my book. I did not complete yet. And then I decided, okay, let's say start with some business in parallel to what I'm doing. So I found, let's say, a colleague,
Mm-hmm.
and we founded BidBox GmbH already in 2011.
Okay.
Which was, and we were looking into, okay, this APMP stuff was not well known in Germany. And I thought it would be a good idea to bring this in and Germanize it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very tricky, I realized, because I could forget all these English words. So and the stuff sounds a bit strange in German, So proposal management, or it's a bid manager is an Angebotsmanager. This
Huh.
sounds very dry and complicated, And
Yeah.
business development means Geschäftsfeldentwicklung. Again, you see, so that was the approach, and we had some success that time.
Yeah.
And do it in German, but it takes time to establish a brand. And
Yeah.
as I have been in the US, or let's say on APMP US conferences as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I met a couple of people. By the way, I met Howard at that time already. I met Steve Shipley,
Oh, yeah.
Larry Newman, and then it just turned out, let's say, a couple of years later, we just met and I said, hey, shall I do this for you in the German-speaking market? And so I did. Of course, I mean, starting a company is always, you need to have some investments. You need to do your own investments, And then I started 2014. And I don't know if people remember, there's Shipley Limited in the UK. And they're very successful, and they also covered part of the European territories. But it's impossible to do this all from UK. So I took over the German-speaking part, Poland, and some other countries as well. And that's the way I started. And I would say the good thing is, I tell you, sometimes people talk to each other and somebody asks for help. Can you know somebody who can help you in the area of proposals? Then somebody most likely will say, hey, why don't you call the Shipleys?
Yeah.
And that's the way it is. So
yeah, that's great.
I'm very happy to be part of the family. And what Shipley developed globally, I have to say it's impossible to develop in short term when it comes to intellectual property. And of course, now the world is more digital. Yeah. But this is also embedded now. And so I developed step by step the German-speaking market with focus of Germany, of course, because it's the largest business in Europe.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And started with international clients, of course, Siemens, defense companies, Rheinmetall, and also everybody who goes on international bids.
Yeah. So I'm sure that to support all of these large international organizations, you must have a great team supporting you. Can you tell us a little bit about your team?
Let's say 50% I work with consultants, which are working with me for a longer time. Yeah. But we also support each other within the region. So Tony Birch, for instance, people know from UK, he's helping out sometimes, or vice versa. So we have a good, let's say, network of consultants with different capabilities.
Yeah.
So one thing is the training part. You need different skills. And then you have the more consultants, which are bid managers working in the bids for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
So of course, I do a lot of the trainings. I do less myself projects because I don't have the time for this dedicated time. I could do perhaps one. So I have my consultants, which are, let's say, then stepping in, or the project gets bigger than we thought, and doing this now for a couple of years.
Wow, it's very cool stuff. So you mentioned APMP. When did you actually become a member of APMP?
I think it was 2003 already.
Oh wow! So you've been a member quite a long time.
Yeah, and there is a person, thanks to him, it's David Worley from the UK.
Oh, okay.
David was running a company called Bid to Win. And he was helping me during my time when I was in Nokia. And so I found this is a good idea. And I think then I did my certification already in 2007. So I was going to all the conferences, also to every year I went to the US as well.
Wow. So do you still make it to the international conference in the US every year?
Not recently, but I went to a couple, and I even had, let's say, was a speaker on a couple of conferences in the US as well, and also in UK, by the way.
Okay. What is your most memorable, speaking engagement that you've had for APMP? And what was the presentation about?
The presentation was about, let's say, Bid Factory, centralizing bid management, of course, because I just closed this project, so it was around 2010, 11. Yeah, and to be honest, I don't remember the place. So I remember it was a Sheraton Hotel.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm sure that, so many people were fascinated. That's when you shared all your secrets about how to establish the bid center.
Yeah, it was 2011. I mean, now everybody, of course, has an idea about, let's say, bid factories and so on. But that time it was pretty new experience. And actually, I shared all the insights you asked me earlier. So how you do this, how can you structure this, how can you start? And to be honest, when I did this 2007-8 for Nokia, I had an idea how to do this. It worked out, but I didn't know. When I came back from these conferences, I realized there's no APMP in Europe except UK.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, why don't we do something for the German-speaking community? And I was talking to the guys. I was just writing the papers, and there were certain requirements. So I took my Nokia Siemens Networks team as the first members.
Oh, wow.
In first conference was in Munich. And I think I still have the old, let's say, papers and material here in my cupboards. So and then, I mean, unfortunately, my challenge for India started. a year later.
Your
So,
challenge for so for
so
opening the bid center.
yeah, exactly. So I was still running this and for the APMP DACH. I was heading this organization, and but I had to hand over it to a new, let's say, management team after some time. So I said I can't do this any longer while being in New Delhi. So and then let's say some of my colleagues took over then.
Okay.
Yeah. But instead, because I was in India, I said, hey, there is no APMP in India. So actually, I established, and people don't know, I established also APMP India in, let's say, with my team in New Delhi.
Oh, wow.
Now it's headed by completely different people, which is fine, and it's differently organized. But the first initiative actually I did with my managers, and then we did also the LinkedIn stuff, etc., etc. So yeah.
Oh, that's so great. It sounds like you've been, very instrumental in, spreading the word and establishing APMP kind of globally, right? Making sure that your teams were using best practices.
I just did it because I found it a good idea. There was no, other reasons for this. Just I think let's do this, makes sense. Yeah. So. Yeah.
That's a great transition over to our round with Bhaskar, where we have some surprise rapid fire questions.
Wolfram, do you have any hobbies and interests other than what you mentioned about the 3 things that not many people know about you?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm not working, and I'm working very often, I'm always looking into new fields and opportunities. But important part for me is the nature and the family. So our house is close to the woods, and I like to go, be there because the business life is so hectic. So you need to, step out of this. And then I have, by the way, I have still some adult kids, I would say, and they need my coaching from time to time. And for instance, and this takes time, and this is also, how can I say, kind of, I wouldn't say hobby, but it's good to help the family to grow. And since my son is a so-called, as everybody knows, those influencer, social media guy, and let's say even a singer, and I'm helping and a little bit managing what he has to do there. So this is I would call also a hobby. And I mean, and as everybody most likely, if you have your house and you have your garden, I still enjoy, taking care of this.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Of course, I mean, there's all the other stuff, but this, I would call it normal, going to musicals, to concerts, and so on. But this is for the next couple of months, maybe a year, impossible. At least here.
Yes, Wolfram, that's right. Wolfram, when your son, Max, came to you and said, Daddy, I want to become a YouTuber, what was your first reaction?
I told him it was actually, he started with gaming when he was 13.
Right.
So 13. In this age, you're not allowed to sign any contracts or even have an email account, I would say. So he was starting his gaming stuff, and somehow I was supporting him, but his mom was not very much happy about that. And after some time, I realized, and he is doing good thing because he actually has a goal and a target. So I supported his activities.
Nice.
Yeah, without actually telling him what to do. So yeah, it's fun today, and it's good to see that he makes some money with this as well. Yeah, different. And by the way, you learn a lot yourself. Yeah, so I think this generation is much ahead of us still. Even I feel young.
Yes.
Yeah, but the way they communicate, there are different tools I even wasn't aware about. At that time it was TeamSpeak, Twitch, etc. And by the way, he is holding his session in another room right now. So he's doing streaming during the night, all this kind of stuff. So everything which is perhaps a little bit crazy.
Got you. I think it's amazing how you can get the balance of both worlds, the online world and the proposal world, and the peace in going to the woods and then going back to watch music.
Yeah. It's sometimes, I agree. It is sometimes, it sounds crazy, but you may hear, I love this way. Okay. So, and then I have to do, let's say, support my clients independent. If it's Friday, Sunday, Monday, I don't care. Yeah, because I have my freedom, what I want to do.
That's brilliant.
And of course, not to forget, this is possible, and I'm very happy, to live in Germany, I have to say.
Yes, definitely.
It's a really great basis. I have been, as I told you, international, and then you value when you come back what you have.
Beautifully said. Wolfram, I know Max plays games and he's a singer as well. Do you play video games yourself?
Not really. I don't. I feel I waste my time. So instead, I look into other tools, and see how they work. And I rather go on YouTube and try to create some videos myself. So it's more. I'm very much digital person, yes, but I'm not playing on let's say there. I don't know.
Got you. And again, what part of your team, your daughter Luisa is also supporting you with work. How is it working with Luisa? And I'm sure, mentoring youngsters is one, but also giving your own family an opportunity, both helping your son on growing his YouTube venture and also helping Luisa to go through work experience. How is Luisa doing?
Very good point. And I let's say more expected this question somehow. She learned the proposal world while working, let's say, in one of our companies. Yeah, and but she is still, and this is I have to say, maybe she did an excellent exam in her first round. She's still working and studying, and she understands proposals, German and English. So, of course, working with your family, relatives sometimes is not easy. You have to have special skills, and but she is doing great. If she would have more time, she could actually write the proposals already herself. Yeah. So and how can I say? And Max is also doing his education, by the way, in our other company now. But I think he is more famous than I am. Really.
I can imagine.
He has an artist name, and I think he has on YouTube he has 260,000 followers.
Wow.
Yeah. I think on Spotify his let's say one of his songs is over 300,000 streams. So he's doing his job, and yeah.
Oh,
So for me, it's as you said, I mean, working with the family is sometimes difficult, but I think this is perhaps also a recommendation. Why not doing it when you can do this in your life? Yeah.
That's beautiful, Wolfram. And you know what? It's you're so blessed. You're so blessed. On a scale of 1 to 10, how strict are you as a parent?
What is the most strict? 10?
Yeah.
I would say I'm not listening to my kids, but I have my rules.
Yeah.
Meaning, if there's a good reason, I'm open to negotiations, per se. So I'm not always strict, but it's your, it's your relatives. Yeah. So it's different when you work with your family than with, let's say, externals. When it comes to, I would say, the business, then I have certain rules, and I expect certain professional behavior and way of working. This applies, of course, also to my private life, I have to admit.
It's fascinating, Wolfram, because I know, because I've seen you, I've met you, and I've met family as well. I mean, like, it's I won't say strict, but you know what's right, and you stand for things that you believe in, but you still give the space for your children to grow in their own way. That's what fascinates me. I'm sure, you know what, you're I think your children are lucky to have you, and you're lucky to have the children. Let's put that way.
Absolutely. Yes. And yeah, and the point is, I mean, I know what I want, so I always have my targets.
Yep. Perfect. So what song do you sing only when you're alone, and what memory does it bring back? Do you sing a song on your own when there is no one?
No, really not. I even don't sing under the shower. So I rather, let's say, watch those ones on YouTube, or let's say hear them on Spotify. So I have my favorites. Many of them are, let's say, German, meanwhile. Yeah, young German talents. And there are a lot of them. And yeah, but of course, I also belong to the, let's say, Rolling Stones time, etc. Yeah? Of course. Yeah. But I adjusted very much, and this is due to the kids, definitely. They have a big influence on me.
I can imagine. I can imagine, especially, you know, Max being a singer himself. You know, it does kind of influence you. You know, like what the latest in the industry. I was hoping at some point you and Max will be singing together in Das Super Talent or something.
I think maybe I would do this, but Max would say no way. You know, you need to. I mean, he sings the text of the songs he does are in German, but it's a kind of German rap songs somehow. Right. So yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, but please search for Fazon, Fazon, Fazon.
Fazon, definitely, and I'll put the link to the YouTube channel as well, part of the podcast.
Yeah, great.
We'll do that. Are you a morning person or a night person?
I'm definitely a morning person.
Wow. Definitely,
because I like. Also, my best time of working is in the morning, and I wake up at 5:30 or so, and then I have my time on my own, and I can even start working immediately. But I have an issue with late nights, so I'm not a nightlife person, not at all.
That's interesting. So you have traveled a lot, Wolfram. So if you could pick up 3 favorite foods from all your travels, what are your 3 favorite food items?
Immediately I can tell you chicken tikka.
Okay.
No, really.
Nice.
Yeah. So Indian food I like very much,
Mhm.
especially the ones which let's say yeah, there's chicken food and all the vegetables. It's great. I like that. Otherwise, I mean, of course, Italian food, everything which goes with pasta, different variations, we cook ourselves. Yeah, not too much meat, to be honest.
Mm.
So we're definitely not the meat family. So it's more veg. Yeah.
Out of all the place you traveled, do you have a favorite place?
My home.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, I tell you why. I've been traveling a lot, and I've seen all the places, and it's all nice to see.
Mm.
And I think for a period of 10 years, we always went in summer. We went to a small island in the north of Germany.
Mm.
It's called Juist, and you only can. There's a small airport, very small, but you only can reach it by a ferry, and there are no cars at all. The only transportation is on horses, and yeah, that's the reason I say that is the place I want to go again as soon we are allowed to do so.
Perfect. I think that's it. So if you are planning an Oktoberfest party of your life, and which 3 celebrities or historical figures or someone whom you like would you invite as a guest list for your Oktoberfest party?
Immediately, Barack Obama.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Because he's a great person, I believe. He was right, and I'm still reading the books when he was becoming a president.
Mm.
And yeah, it's yeah, and yeah.
That's one.
Maybe Helene Fischer, one of the great German singers.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more?
One more.
Mm.
My father.
Ah, nice. What a combination there. What Hollywood movie character would you like to play?
Again, no idea. I play myself all the time, and you can hear perhaps from our discussion here. I like what I'm doing.
Mm.
Yeah. So and I just want to do more of it.
That's nice. So the last one is, name one thing that really makes you angry.
If somebody is not following the way I want it.
Oh, that's okay. Any listeners, don't do that to Wolfram. Please do follow. That's nice, Wolfram. And okay, so who's the kindest person you know?
The kindest person I know, of course, my wife.
Yes, I was expecting that. Can you share why?
I mean, she was. You heard about my business life so far. She was with me all the time. She was. I was in Delhi with my family. She was supporting me all the time, and we had a lot of difficult times, of course, being international and abroad, and yeah. So we still do a lot of things together. So I'm really happy, and yeah, maybe it's time to pay back now.
100% Wolfram. You shouldn't wait. Straight after this thing, go and that's brilliant. Who are the people who have been the most influential in your life and career?
Yeah, I also thought about this, and but I need to tell you, I mean, maybe my father, but I don't have anybody actually I would say he was influential to me. It sounds strange perhaps, but I always did and tried what I thought or had in mind. So my father also went to the US when he was younger, and so he was living in Chicago. So maybe he gave me this international, stuff.
Got you. So what have you observed lately, because we're all in COVID crisis, that reminded you that people are kind and good?
Yeah, very interesting topic. It's about what is really important. Yeah, and what is really not important at all. So people should take care of each other. And do we really need this big festivals and parties? No, we don't. That's my opinion. We should more take care about the really good stuff, like how we develop, let's say, the world to a better. If it is health, if it is nature, so do something professional instead of just having fun. That's my turn.
That's brilliant. And the final one from me is, what's the biggest lesson life has taught you so far?
It's always going on, you know what I mean? So it's up to me. So meaning situations can be difficult, you can overcome this if you just do it yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
And the world continues and goes on. It always goes further. Funny enough, this is somehow also in the textbook of my son's song. Yeah.
Looking back, what's one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
Nothing. Looking back, I realize now it doesn't help you know something before. It's more you just need to try out yourself what can be done and what is good or bad for yourself, or so nothing really.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Sometimes we learn more through making mistakes and learning as we go than if we had known everything from the beginning, right?
Absolutely. And I tell you, I made a lot of mistakes. Definitely.
Yeah, we all have to, right? Or,
Yeah.
We never improve.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about your dad being a great influence on your life and career, and I'm sure there's been so many other great influences. What's the best piece of advice that you've received, and who gave that to you?
This is related to business, and I've been working with great companies. I tell you, like Ericsson and Nokia. They have a very special way of communicating and working with each other, and I think this actually is, how can I say, is influencing my behavior even today. How we actually, I work with people, how I communicate, how I behave. I didn't know this before. It might have been different when I perhaps, let's say, have been starting with a pure German company like Siemens or so. Yeah, but this, especially the Finnish and the Swedish company are, let's say, international, and especially the Finns are very, how can I say, direct, but listening, and you can make mistakes. So I learned to accept this, and we talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
And this was definitely the influence to my life, working with the Scandinavian let's say, people and companies.
Yeah, I find the business culture in Scandinavia amazing, and I found have a very good work-life balance that I don't see sometimes in other places.
Yeah, and Finland has one of the is rated as the best education system still.
Yeah, it's so great. So we've talked about all of these amazing things that you've done, you know, making a very successful bid center, training so many different organizations, working on these amazing proposals. What advice would you give to someone who wants to have a successful career like you've had?
Yeah, maybe it's also important to know that I'm a salesperson. So I didn't come to proposal management directly. I'm still a salesperson. So this is just a practice of sales or business development, maybe. And it's not. I think proposal management requires a real depth working with those topics. It's not just an Excel sheet, you know, and following up the task. It's more living, understanding the world of business, and then you apply your proposal part on it, and then you will win more business. Definitely, I'm believing in this. So this is my personal vision. I fully believe in this. Yeah, and that's the reason when I do the training, I love face-to-face training. You know, I will do now, let's say, a couple of online trainings, which are, you know, okay, we have to do this, but, you know, doing live trainings and showing the passion, that's important for me.
Oh, absolutely. And it's so important to understand, you know, the full business impacts and the sales cycle and how that plays into the proposal. So couldn't agree more. So we've already talked about everything you've done so far. What's next? What are you looking forward to in the future?
Yeah, good question. I will definitely not retire. So, yeah, I mean, I think what we have to do now definitely is, I mean, short term, we all have to work around the health crisis right now, which affecting heavily the business. Yeah. So, and next for me right now, short term is say adjusting the way doing business. On the other hand, I still want to share my knowledge and also have more, let's say, partners and consultants working with me. So I wouldn't say I would do less, but say I can concentrate on something else.
Yeah.
So I still want to grow this. That's my point.
Absolutely.
Yeah? I'm looking for the right fit of consultants, partner, people, friends. Have the similar approach that I am.
Oh, that's great. And you mentioned you started a book. How are you? Any plans to finish that book?
What? No.
Okay. All right. That's it from me, Wolfram. Thank you so much.
All right.
I think this is a very interesting episode. I'm sure when the listeners listen, they'll get like how sharp and short your responses was and how kind of very transparent it was as well. You know, there was nothing hidden. It was just like straightforward, typical of you, Wolfram. You know, brilliant. Thank you for that. So, Wolfram, is there any part of your life or career or anything else you want to say, Wolfram?
No, I mean, I think where am I right now? I never planned to be before. So it's just it just developed, but it's just a recommendation. Everybody, you know, even in proposal, you need to have your own, you know, try it out, do it, and you don't know if it goes left or right, you know. So find out. And when it comes, for instance, the proposal center, come on. I went to India without knowing how the world is ticking over there. Okay, but I did it successfully. I mean, and some people may have said, perhaps the locals, what is this idiot talking to me, you know? But I had my style and we made it happen, you know. So just as I said, just do it, try it out, you know, and it will go right.
That's brilliant. Wolfram, do we think the Düsseldorf Christmas party, the Christmas market will open this year?
Yes. Straight answer. I think it will. It will. There will be even ice skating in let's say, it's the Königsallee. I don't know if you've been there. One of the famous shopping streets, Königsallee. They always have an ice skating area. It will happen.
So let's hope all things get done and we are celebrating Oktoberfest and Christmas and other things.
Yeah. All in special mask and leather shorts.
So that's it, Wolfram. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a privilege to have you with us at Scribble Talk. Wish you all the good health and happiness. Give our regards to Max, Louisa, and all the members of your Shipley team and all your clients. And please continue to inspire bid and proposal colleagues, not just in Germany, but everywhere, and in India and everywhere. Wolfram, stay healthy, stay happy, and stay kind. Thank you so much, Wolfram.
Yeah, and thanks to you, you know, having the opportunity here. It's a great series of program you're doing here. Great stuff, really.
Thank you, Wolfram. That means a lot to me and Ashley. Thanks a lot, Wolfram.
To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Please visit batchyscribble.com/podcast to listen to this episode and check out any of our other previously recorded episodes. If you've enjoyed today's interview, don't forget to subscribe, review, and share the Scribble Talk podcast. We hope you'll check out our next episode where we interview another industry expert and special guest. Until then, it's Ashley Kays,
Bhaskar Sundram,
signing off.